Helmet off to check it. Probably just turn itself off again. Hey guys, Geriatric PPG guy here. Doing a video today on what not to do. I'm going to start off by saying that everything turned out okay on this flight, but came very close to a disaster. It's all on video here, so I'm going to go ahead and post it. The day started off bad in that the weather forecast said that we were going to have some rather strong wind not far above the surface. It was supposed to develop about this time of day, and so I had figured that I probably wouldn't get to fly. But as day got later, it looked like that might be blowing in later in the evening, so I thought I'd give it a go. I'm set up here in the field that you've seen me fly from before if you watch my videos. But this year the field is particularly rough. They'd been running tractors through here this spring when it was wet, and it is completely rutted up out there. It's really bad. It's an ankle breaker for sure. And if I had realized how bad it was earlier, I probably wouldn't have gone out there. But I did. And I've set up here to take off toward the west, which was the direction that the wind was blowing when I got out there. But it wasn't much wind. And as it got a little later, it died off to, well, nil wind, really. What you're going to see here is an aborted takeoff. As I pull the wing up here, there seems to be a problem with the right brake. There wasn't, but it didn't feel right to me. And I was pulling right brake trying to straighten out the line. I thought it was hung up, but it wasn't hung up. It was curled up, and it just didn't feel right. So I aborted the takeoff. And that's where the problem starts. And I'll get back to that when we get to that point. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and let you watch this aborted takeoff, and then we'll talk about how this started a series of things that very nearly turned into a disaster. So I'll talk to y'all in just a little bit. Okay, so what we've seen here is we've seen an aborted takeoff. A line got wrapped around the pulley a little bit. When I pulled it, it straightened out, but it didn't feel right, and I wasn't sure what was wrong, so I just aborted it. It turned out to be nothing. I could have taken off. Wing was hanging back a little too. It's really warm on this day. Humidity's really high, nil wind, all that. All kinds of excuses, but anyway, the wing came up okay. That would have made a good takeoff, but it didn't feel right. I aborted the takeoff, and then I'm going to set up to take off again. And I'm going to carry this wing further down the field because at this point I've noticed a wind change direction. There's actually some wind is starting to pick up a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's some. And it's coming from behind me. It had turned about 100 degrees or better. And I decided to go ahead and move the wing down the field so I would have more runway. What you cannot see is just behind this camera is a high line, an electrical line. And that electrical line runs all the way across that field. Now you've seen me take off toward that electrical line before, but I'm in the middle of the field here. Normally, if I'm taking off toward that line, I'm cutting diagonally across the field and I intend to make a turn in that direction. There's an opening between trees there that I fly through quite often. And that's what the deal is there. So I'm going to carry my wing further back down the field so that I have a little more runway. And truth be told, I should have carried it even further than I did. But I carried it as far as I thought I needed to have enough room to take off and make a left-hand turn to fly between the trees and not over the wires, which with the Moster I could have flown over the wires easily enough as long as there wasn't an engine out. Now what you're going to see next here is another bad takeoff attempt. This wing is going to lay back and I'm going to blow this takeoff. Man, this don't happen very often anymore, but it sure happened today. And this is where the big mistake is made. Is this bad takeoff is going to set me up for a near disaster. Okay, two things just happened there. Wing laid back. I didn't pull hard enough. I didn't run fast enough on that one. But besides that, two things happened. One, I used up a little bit of my runway. Wasn't much, but it was a little. And like I said before, I should have moved further down that field. It looks like a long ways on this video. It's not very far. The other thing that I should have paid attention to is that when I pulled up that wing, I was expecting to come down the middle of the field. But as soon as I pulled up the wing, I had to go to my left in order to be into the wind. And both of those things are going to play a part here because I didn't pick up my wing and move it back further back down the field. I left it right there. I was too lazy to reset up like I should. I left the wing lay right there. I pulled it out, but I didn't move back further down the field. And I definitely should have. But I didn't, and we're going to see what the consequences of that. I won't call it action. How about inaction? It's about to cause. It's going to be interesting anyway. So I'm going to set up and try one more time. And for me, 3 attempts is a lot, especially on a day like today that I'm trying to fly. So we'll let you see what happens next, and then I'll give you a different perspective when it's all over from my helmet cam, because it shows a lot clearer what happened, but we'll explain it. One of the things I'd like you to notice is that the tree that you see the very furthest on the right, it actually has the highline wires cut through it. That's how close those wires are to that tree. That'll be important here. Now all of that looks pretty benign from this point of view, and I just wanted to make sure that you saw it from this point of view, because when you see it from the helmet cam it's a little bit different, and as we all know, the GoPros aren't real good at catching all the stuff anyway, but this turned out to be pretty close to bad news. I'll switch over to the helmet cam now and you can see that last takeoff from a different perspective. Okay, what you're going to see is you're going to see me take off and I'm going to run across this ground and it's rough. Then I'm going to just trip just as I start to get some decent lift, and I'm going to fall slightly to the right. And when I do, I'm going to pull some right brake. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be enough where I'm going to turn to the right straight into the wires. I'm already way too close to those wires. Like I said, the wires run right through that last tree there before the road. The GoPro doesn't really do it justice, but I am very, very close to the wires and even closer to the trees by the time I get this wing sorted out. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and just put it on the ground. But I'm going to hit the wires if I do that going straight. So I make the impossible turn to the left, start to go down, and then I decide to go for it. I hit the moster, and I made it between the gap, but I just barely missed that tree on the right with my right wing. So that's what you're about to see. And when I say barely, I'm talking about just barely missed that tree. And if I hadn't made that turn, I would have been in the wires. There's no question about that. Anyway, this is how not to do it. And I won't be doing this again. And maybe I'll be able to talk you out of attempting the short runway into wires thing. It's not a good idea. Especially if you're, old and decrepit and not the best pilot to begin with. So anyway, here it is. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.
Down the left. All right, here we go. Takeoff.
Well, there's a big understatement. It doesn't look like a big deal on the video, I suppose, but it was very, very close. So for a bonus, I guess what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show you a Mach 3 landing by an old man. The wind that the forecasts said was supposed to happen did in fact happen. I got just a little ways up in the air and it was wild. That wind direction change that I saw on the ground was because if you looked at the windy app, you could see air coming into this area from 3 different directions. It was just a washing machine up there. So anyway, I didn't fly long. I came back in to land, and when I did, I was getting bounced around a little bit, not much, but just as I broke over the edge of the trees, all of a sudden, my wing, I just whoosh, down I came, and I came in fast. I was fooling with my kill switch and stuff and wasn't paying close attention, and I thought, holy crap. When I realized that I was about to splat on the ground, I flared, and it worked out all right, but it's kind of funny to watch an old man like me run like I had to. So I'll let you watch that, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Getting bounced all over the place. Oh well, 5-minute flight. At least I wasn't defeated, but I should not have done what I did. Shouldn't even have come close to that. Whoa! Mach 3. I really come in fast. I wasn't paying any attention. I was fooling around with the kill switch. I looked down and I was flying in here.